Hello everyone, this is Ty with Spicy Exotics. Tonight is June 15th, 2017, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what's going on in the evening or nighttime instead of our typical day trip through the variety of dragon fruit and see what sort of activity. First, I'd like to show lots of new varieties we have coming in. These planters are just getting started. A bunch of new varieties from Australia, South America, Israel. So we have a bunch of interesting new varieties from variegated to different color flowers. So some really cool things to look forward to in the future. But moving forward through, we have a physical graffiti here, and you can see here we have a flower bud with a few fruit that have set. Also on this side, here we have a flower bud from a dark star with a few more flower buds and a fruit that has set. Here we have a Rixford with no flower buds, no fruit. It has already fruited approximately 12 flowers. It's been extremely wet, and unfortunately none of those flowers were pollinated because of the wetness and the lack of pollen from other varieties. It is extremely dependent upon pollen from another variety. Over on this side, we have a flower bud here from a Delight, and right above it we have this variety, and it's called a David Bowie. It's a white flesh variety with a wonderful lemon flavor. One of the best tasting white flesh varieties in my opinion. Next, we have a Frankie's Red, and the only activity I can show on it is just a few flower buds here. Here we have a red flesh variety blooming tonight. It also has a few flower buds, as you can see here. Very thorny. Here we have a K1, white flesh variety. This is a Haley's Comet. We have a flower bud here, no fruit. We have a Condor, which is a Guatemalan Nicaraguan hybrid. Has about half a dozen fruit. All flowers were pollinated, even through the very saturated weather we had. It still managed to set fruit with no failed flower buds. Great variety here with awesome flavor. In addition to that, I'm just noticing this. We have flower bud. Here we have Purple Haze. Lots of activity. No fruit yet, lots of flower buds. And then over on this side, no flower buds or whatnot on these varieties. These are all white flesh. White flesh seem to be the last to produce flower buds. We can take a look here. And we're gonna come on the outside here to take a look. This is a Benhoa Red. It has a few fruit on it. We've already eaten a few fruit off of Ben Hur Red. This is a Thompson variety, as you can see here. A white flesh variety. It has several blooms on it tonight. Next we have a Macasupa. Some flower blooms bloomed last night. You see here some of those flower blooms from Macasupa from last night. And then over on this side we have a Natural Mystic. And Natural Mystic also had a flower bud last night that bloomed. And we did some pollination on it. Bear with me 1 second as we walk across. Here's a Nitzel. Only has one flower bloom off of it. The next variety is a red flesh variety here. And one interesting thing about it, you notice the stigma is a lot thicker on this variety. You can see here. This is Oriana. This variety here that's next is a Lake Atitlan Red. As you can see, I'm silently counting here, but we're looking at least half a dozen blooms on it. The aroma is amazing, and you can see the stigma on it in comparison to the Oriana, a lot thinner. You notice these little black dots, these are aphids. They're pretty harmless. There's no native pests here in Louisiana. This is Halosirius costarricensis. That's blooming here. Beautiful bloom. Very, very thick growth. It has already bloomed and set a few fruit on it, as you can see here. Here's another great shot. And this smells as good as it looks right now. Macasupa, which we looked at from the other side, is also blooming very profusely right now. Here we have a Rediana, no blooms, one small fruit, flower bud. Over on this side we have a Bruni. You can see here we have a failed flower bud, have a Bruni fruit. A few more on the back side, and a Bruni flower. A couple of flower buds here that have bloomed the last few nights. Here's an unknown red variety. You can see here it's bloomed a few last night, has a few more tonight, with these 3 blooms that are all off of one stem there. This is a very potent variety. It's very similar to Rediana, makes a smaller fruit. One unique characteristic that's very different is its pollen is very potent. It is self-fertile and it does pollinate very well with all other varieties. I don't know what it's called, but it is a very nice variety to have in your collection in the event you need pollen. Next, we have a Zamorano. Nice size fruit here. Hasn't turned color yet. We should be expecting a bloom here in the next couple days off of these two. Right here we have a voodoo child. No blooms, just a few small buds. These are actual fruits. Should have fruit within, I guess, the next 15 to 20 days for sure. Hilocerius guatemalas. A couple of fruits here with flower buds. Hilocerius ocanopus. Interesting, unique flower buds on it. Small flower buds. It hasn't bloomed quite yet. Makes a gorgeous flower. Fruit, however, less than desirable. Has a very musty flavor. Also non-self-fertile. But if you're seeking beautiful flowers, it can do it. Also very, very hardy. Here's a variety I collected in Maui, Hawaii, called Hana. And pardon the noise, but there's a flower bud from it. It is a rapid growing variety. It appears to look like a red flesh variety. However, it is a white flesh with a very nice tasting fruit. And it is the quickest to set fruit. From cutting, it set fruit within 14 months. That is much quicker than any other variety. I have a second source of Bruni here. Some nice sized Bruni fruit. Here is a Nicaraguan red. There's a flower bud off of it. With a few more varieties. This is a neon. As you can see, it's performing very closely to the voodoo child with fruit and flower buds. These are all fruit. This is a flower bud. And a fruit that is ready to eat. This is an American Beauty. Thank you for watching.